KwaZulu-Natal is once more bracing for potentially disastrous weather, including the threat of localised flooding. A level 6 warning for heavy downpours has been issued for the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. A level 2 warning issued for some of the regions in the east. The KwaZulu-Natal Cogta spokesperson, Siboniso Mnadi, joins me now. Good evening to you and welcome. Level 6, quite a serious warning. So there's a high risk of flooding, which can cause serious damage to infrastructure, as well as risking lives. And so tonight, who, in your estimation, would be affected, and what is your message to those communities?
Yeah, well, yes, no, thank you. Yes, we have received the level 6 alert from the South African weather services, particularly for the King, the Dwayo and Umkhanyakude districts, that is the northern part of the province. Yeah, our disaster management teams have been monitoring the situation very closely. You'll recall that other districts, such as Oku district in the south, eThekwini Metro, Ilembe district, and Ngumlo, had already been on the level 6 alert since Monday until the early hours of this morning. So far, we have received some few incidents of infrastructure damage, and 2 families from the south coast have also been evacuated after their houses were completely damaged by these heavy rains. But unfortunately, our disaster management team responded promptly and ensured that no life was lost. And they've also provided the immediate relief. They've opted to sort an alternative venue with their relatives. So we've been urging all our residents, particularly in the northern part, that is areas including Impangeni to Mtubatuba, to take all our precautionary measures that we've put in place through our joint operation cluster, where we work with all the municipalities that are likely to be affected, as well as with the law enforcement agencies. We have made the precautionary plans, such as community hall, and we advise our residents that should they observe maybe the high level of water levels coming to their yard or to their properties, we advise them to relocate to the safer places. However, our teams are still on the ground. They're monitoring all the situation, and they continue with the assessment. In the eThekwini Metro, there were roads that were damaged by this road. There was a bridge, the Hewlett Bridge, on the old South Coast Road that have been damaged by these heavy rains. Also, there was a retaining wall of the Durban's Botanic Gardens and Morningside. The wall collapsed and resulted in the road being unstable. So the traffic law enforcement agencies have responded to that to ensure that the road is currently closed to ensure that everyone is safe.
Pun intended, Siboniso, the situation certainly fluid in KwaZulu-Natal. You know, it's sometimes hard to predict exactly what's going to happen. And so having, the joint ops cluster that you mentioned working in cohesion and harmony is critical to minimizing the loss of life and getting information to affected communities very quickly. So what is the operational plan to manage emergencies between all of these agencies that are tasked with responding? Is there a war room?
Yes, definitely. Our joint operation cluster, they meet from time to time. As I speak to you, we've just had our meeting for the day. We work with all the municipalities across the province. There are areas that they identify as high risk. So we get the report timelessly to make sure that they monitor the situation very closely, and should there be a need to move the rescue personnel from one municipality to another, they do so before maybe the damages get serious. So that also help us to coordinate and ensure that we have enough manpower, and we also have enough resources, as well as the safety havens, like the public facilities that we normally use should we need to evacuate some families. So it has been the plan that has been working for us, and ensure that should anything happen, but most importantly, we do save lives.
I want to come to the question around lessons, if there's time, Siboniso, but we are running out of time. For residents of KwaZulu-Natal who are directly affected and would be directly affected during the course of the next few days, what resource has the Metro laid on for them? Who can they call? Who can they contact to get in touch with for either assistance or to alert them that something's happened?
Yeah, definitely. There are disaster management centers, a number that I can share with you, that a resident can call should they need the assistance. We also work with the ward councillors and ward committees through the community WhatsApp groups where we disseminate the information timelessly. And then we also ask them if you notice something that is not normal, especially the water level, you also dial that number. You also write the message so that our personnel can swiftly move to that direction, so that we ensure that we disseminate information quite easily, and also people are able to report should they need any assistance from us.
Yeah, if there's a number you want to share with me right now, we'll take it down and we will certainly share that with our viewers again.
Okay. Okay, it's 031.
Yeah, go ahead.
031, 362 and 0000.
Okay, are there digital resources where the community can share information or red flag situations, or is it just this line?
Oh, it's this line, but our ward councillors, particularly in eThekwini Metro and Watugoza, they also have activated the WhatsApp groups where they normally communicate the information. So most people have been urged maybe to use those WhatsApp groups to share information and also to share every content that they think may need our assistance from the disaster management team.
It's really tragic, you're getting over catastrophic floods and inclement weather from 2022. It's 2023 and you're facing a situation that you have to respond to. What can you tell us, Siboniso, about, the people who were relocated last year? Are people still living in shelters? Has everyone from that cycle of displacement been relocated?
Yes, this has been an ongoing plans that is coordinated by our provincial government through the Office of the Premier. So there were proper facilities that were made available for all the victims of the previous floods. So they've been accommodated in the decent houses. Well, some have been leased through other stakeholders, while the government is making sure that everyone at the end gets a decent and safe home to return home. So far, the government have made strides in ensuring that everyone has a decent home, particularly during this rainy season. So we want to ensure that everyone from our province is safe.
Yeah.
We also urge the people, particularly in the rural areas and informal settlement, that should they decide maybe to build the houses, they must ensure that they don't build houses in the low-lying areas, because they are likely to get affected, particularly during the rainy season.
So if I heard you correctly, and we'll share that number with our viewers, that all of those who were living in shelters or temporary accommodation haven't quite yet, from the last cycle, been relocated. Have I understood you correctly? Because the concern then is you've got another need and demand on your hands. How will you manage both of those? So just to clarify, there are still people from the last cycle that were displaced who still have not been placed in homes or permanent shelter.
No, they've been placed to shelters. What I was trying to explain is that our government is still identifying areas so that they can build them their homes, because some accommodation that were made available at the time were the block of flats, where some people may not feel like home or comfortable to live in a block of flats. But what we ensure is that they are decent flats and they are very family-friendly to be used, while the government is still identifying the suitable land to build for all people, because what we want to avoid, we don't want to build in areas that we also identify as high risk. We don't want a reputation of such.
Siboniso, no doubt over the next few days we'll still have the opportunity to chat with either yourself or your MEC or colleagues in the department there. We'll certainly keep an eye on the story. KwaZulu-Natal Cogta spokesperson Siboniso Mnadi.